Before a video game hits the market, it must go through what's called quality assurance. Each and every game is subjected to thousands of hours of rigorous play by people known as video game testers.
It's a fun house. We work in a fun house. You got to be grateful for that. I get to play video games all day. Some people have to move concrete blocks. I'm lucky.
Lucky is right. For most die-hard gamers, game testing is the job of dreams.
Just take it you guys just sit around and play the games?
Pretty much.
That sounds like a terrible job.
Doesn't it though?
Yeah.
It sounds a lot more simple than it really is.
Simple it's not. Game testing is a big responsibility. The game testing department is held as the last line of defense for video game developers. If they miss a problem, it doesn't get fixed, and the game is shipped off to the consumer.
Note the dexterity, the hand-eye coordination.
Game testers are looking for bugs. Bugs are flaws in the programming which can disrupt the look, sound, or feel of a game.
You have to be able to figure out whether it's a code problem, whether it's an art problem, whether it's a texture problem, whether it's an artificial intelligence problem, and to be able to narrow it down, to be able to tell the programmers or the artists what the problem is.
The trouble with testing a game is that you're not playing the final product, you're playing basically a broken product, trying to make it a good product. So, I mean, some days you sit down and you do nothing but end up having to restart the game over and over and over because it keeps crashing.
Tracking down a bug can be a difficult task. As an example, take player statistics in sports games. Stats play an important role in the development of a realistic sports gaming experience, and game players demand that the thousands of different stats accurately reflect the abilities of each individual athlete.
They want statistics that work, they want a season that's perfect, and players that reflect real players down to a T. And if those things are off, then they're less impressed by it.
In fact, the entire process of game testing is concerned with preserving the real-life experience of the game. That is, game testers basically ensure that technical flaws do not destroy the player's immersion into fantasy by calling attention to the play experience itself.
The game tester is just one of a complex marketing process by which the developers of this game ensure that the game experience is what will sell in the market. Now, to do that, they have to learn to design the play experience into the very handling of the technology.
Professor Stephen Klein and a group of communication graduate students at Simon Fraser University have for the past 3 years been looking into every aspect of the video game phenomena. They have surveyed over 600 gamers. They have studied video game advertising, and they have examined how kids respond to the play experience constructed by video game developers.
Video gaming has become a central aspect of youth culture. Play has always been important for young people.
It's like Jet Moto too. Do you have it? Yeah.
What other games?
But now with the development of this play experience at the heart of kids' culture, we find that what we might call a video game culture emerging.
But what do we really know about video game players? Who are they? And what does it mean when it is said there is a video game culture?
Squares break, and then you know how to turn it.
It becomes part of the connection that they have with their friends at school. It's what they talk about. They share games. They talk about those experiences.
Yeah, wrong. Okay, and
They've created a youth interest that is probably on a scale of the interest in rock music 20 or 30 years ago.
According to Dr. Klein's research, over 90% of kids play video games, and up to 25% are heavy users. That is, they play up to an hour each day. The average player is predominantly male, between the ages of 8 and 14, and the most popular types of games tend to be very violent and extremely realistic. But just why do kids like playing video games so much?
3D games are a big thing because they're like amazing. They're like the graphics of explosions and things.
I play video games for like hours every single day of the week because I love video games. But
What's so good about them? Why do you love them?
they're just challenging. They may not challenge your brain, but they're challenging. I like them. They're fun.
You have to conquer the game. It's like the bad guys are the opponents, are like the computer, and you want to show them that you can beat them.
Here, buddy. Here, give it to me.
So you can't tell me winning's not important after that display there.
Well, yeah. But like, I guess like winning is a point, cause like you have like glory. Like if you beat someone, you're like, yeah. But then if they beat you back, then you're like, oh, cause it's like a big competition.
Conquering the game and beating your friends is one of the strongest motivations to play. However, if a game is easily mastered, players quickly become bored. So creating a powerful emotional response within the player is essential to a game's success.
Gaming has always been about conflict, but video gaming is about a very intense emotional experience of that conflict. And that is what the game designers have striven very hard to build into their games, is a riveting emotional experience for the player.
Same graphics, same moves. It looks like the arcade, man.
And ultimately, it's this emotional response, the feeling of intensity, which game marketers cultivate to sell their games.
The most defining characteristic of television video game advertising is constructing a sense of the intensity of the experience of video game play. The ad designers create these feelings of intensity to suggest to the gamer that they aren't simply getting a game, but rather an experience that they can become completely immersed in.
Television advertising plays a key role in the development of video game culture. The intensity of the gaming experience is both reflected and constructed through the advertising. But while extremely influential, television advertising is not the prime marketing vehicle. The most successful marketing tool is the video game magazine. Nintendo Power is the largest circulated mag for kids in Canada. Within these pages, the video game culture is nurtured through game reviews, player articles, and the all-important tips and cheat codes.
This is basically a lot of kids' coming out period and the period where they establish their individuality. So when you're creating marketing programs, you have to respect that and appeal to that.
But appealing to this target group usually means leaving parents out of the loop.
This marketing approach is directed solely to the gamer, not the parent, even though the parent may be the person footing the bill. In the few cases the parent does appear, they're normally being shut out.
The parental seal of approval is while something that we'd like, it's not something that we want to actively encourage in our marketing.
And why not? Well, marketing to parents might say to kids that Nintendo is boring, and Nintendo wants to be anything but boring.
So as long as you're not boring and the kids want to buy your games, then you know they'll just bug their parents.
Exactly. When are we going to get the Nintendo game? When are we going to get the Nintendo game? Again and again and again, just like Bart Simpson does.
That looks entertaining.
Oh, yeah. So tell your folks, buy me! Bone Storm, or go to hell!
Buy me, Bone Storm, or go to hell!
Bart! Young man.
Just like Bart Simpson. At a recent seminar, David Miller from the Canadian Association of Media Educators used the popular TV show The Simpsons as a tool to discuss video games with kids.
They all follow their video cartridges.
Who's done almost exactly what Bart did there, saw a game advertisement and wanted that game?
I went up to him and I said, you buy me this game or I'll leave.
And they fell for it. Were you going to leave?
No.
You sort of bug your parents till they just go, all right, I'll get it for you.
Next, when Insert Coin returns, we're going to take a closer look at video games and their effect on our kids and their culture.
All right,